Dustin and Hagen are back hunting the Kansas lease for another season. Dustin is looking for redemption after putting more than 30 days in the stand last season hunting for the right buck.
Hey, and let's just hope that doesn't happen this year.
Does the hard work pay off this time, or will the guys head home with tags in their pockets?
God's gonna cut them down.
It's another season hunting the Wildlifers Kansas lease. The past 4 years, this land has offered many ups and downs. For Dustin, last season was a true test of wit. He was able to successfully guide Stephanie,
Dustin, thank you,
Dan,
Thank you, bud. Thank you.
And Kendall Jones on 3 great bucks.
After 21 days in the stand, he finally had an opportunity, only to have a bow malfunction, leaving him heading home with a tag in his pocket.
You know, this year, I'm doing whatever it takes. I'm getting on a buck. I am not going home with my tag in my pocket again this year. You know, last year, I put everybody else on a buck, and I just didn't have any luck. But you know, this is going to be my year. I'm putting the buck down this year.
Dustin and Hagen arrived November 1st to start picking up where they left off, pulling cards and doing some glassing, all in an attempt to find the best spot for being successful.
Another one behind it. 2 does. Damn old does. They are headed out. Why don't you have any bucks with you?
You know, we've got a couple of deer on the hit list. I've got a couple of deer that I've got pictures of throughout the summer that have been, you know, around the area, and now it's rut time. You just never know what's going to show up.
Fucking cyca deer.
What the hell?
I'll shoot that cuff up.
No, dude, them tenderloins be pretty good.
That's a cyca deer. Ain't nothing about it.
Exotic?
How did that end up here?
I don't know. You might save that one.
In all honesty, we're kind of concerned about what we were going to find. We just weren't having the deer show up that we expected to be there from previous years, and weren't really having any new mature bucks show up.
Look at all them does.
Not so much hesitant, but a little bit concerned about what we were fixing to walk into when we got there.
Let's hope we have a giant. I've said that's the best one that we got on camera. Yeah. He's not a giant. He's in the 50s.
Yeah, I think he's high 50s.
With a couple bucks on the trail cameras, Dustin and Hagen prep for their first sit in Kansas this season.
Dustin and I both agreed on the way up there that we didn't go all the way to Kansas to shoot a deer. We were going to keep our standards at what they were, and we were just going to have to hunt and look a little bit harder and try to find something that was appealing to us.
Finally found a deer this morning right here that I want to get shot, and we're in, I don't usually get this aggressive, but we're in his bedroom. He beds within a couple hundred yards here, and I've got cameras all over. I'm not getting him anywhere else, but right here. So he's close. We got in here. We just put up a pop-up. We did it fast because I didn't want to mess around. We did it as quiet as we could, and we just got in it. So, you know, they may come in and look at the blind. I don't always like to just jump in one, but hey, sometimes you got to get aggressive. I've been up here 5 days, hadn't seen one to shoot, so tonight's the night. Usually your first sit is the time you kill him, so we're gonna kill him tonight. Well, it's bad luck to hunt a deer without a name, so I've got to come up with a name for this deer. And I think I will call him Bob. Big old brows. Bob. spook him, ran him out of there. So we let him rest yesterday evening, and this morning we're gonna go back in here this evening and get in there real quiet. We've got a big cold front coming in tonight, and the next 3 days it's gonna be in the teens. So pretty hopeful these deer are gonna be up on their feet early, trying to feed and get warm for the night, and try to get out of this wind. The wind's gonna pick up real bad around dark. It's supposed to be 22-mile-an-hour wind, so ideally these deer will move a little bit early. We're gonna slip in here and get set up and stay tuned. Hopefully we'll get after him. We've been hunting a couple of days, and my deer's disappeared. Don't have him on camera, but I just saw him a mile away from here and didn't see him at first. There was another little buck laying there. He got up, and him and the little buck and the doe they were with ran as fast as they could over here. Not really the way you want to see your deer before you get in your blind, but I know he came back to the timber. He's been gone a few days. Maybe tonight they'll slip up in here and give us a shot. I know he's got to be within 200 or 300 yards of me right now, and it's hot. We had, yesterday almost died of hypothermia. Right now it's 75 degrees. It was 14 yesterday, 75 today. Not the best ideal conditions you can have, but you can't get one on the couch. You got to get in the stand. So here we are, and see what happens tonight.
It turns into a long day, a long hunt. You're here for a week and you're hunting all day long, all day sits, then you're sitting till 10, getting down for lunch, getting back in at 1 or 2. I mean, as your hunt goes on and you're unsuccessful because you haven't seen your shooter buck or you haven't got a shot at him, it's hard to stay positive, but that's what hunting is about. And if it was really easy, it wouldn't be that fun, right? When you're in Kansas and you're hunting wild free-range bucks, sometimes it works really good, it's really easy, and come out the first sit or the first week, and sometimes you got to put a little time in. And I've been putting my time in with last year and this year. It's gonna happen. If I keep putting my time in without messing things up, he's gonna slip up and I'm gonna get a shot.
This segment is brought to you by Melon Creek Outfitters, Texas free-range hunting at its best. With a 110,000-acre ranch and 3,000 square foot lodge, clients can hunt deer, hog, turkey, predators, and more. Melon Creek Outfitters, raising standards, not fences.
After 9 days, we finally got a picture in the river bottom of a deer that I knew I would go hunt. We went in there, checked cameras, realized that he had been there that morning, got out of there, tried to not leave any scent, went and got set up to get back in there and hunt that evening. I had really high hopes that that deer would come back through there because we had a lot of does living in that bottom, and I think he was just strolling through there checking does, So we were really confident that with a little bit of time and hunting smart, we'd have a shot at this deer.
Well, we had this front blow in last night. It's about 18 degrees. The winds are still pretty high. It's like 15-mile-an-hour winds right now. But they're supposed to rain right before dark, and we're hoping that's going to get the deer on their feet and get them moving. So we're back in the same spot. We're going to sit tight, give it another day. Hopefully we'll get this deer coming in here right before dark, headed down these crop fields below us. So that's all we can hope for at this point. We got 3 days left. We're hunting for 11 days now. We're just going to cross our fingers and wait them out. These Kansas whitetail is not the easiest thing in the world, but every now and then you get lucky.
Hagen sat this stand the rest of the night hoping for another opportunity, but one was never presented. So the only thing he could do from there was head back to camp for a hot meal and prepare for tomorrow's sit.
I got back to the camp and was talking to everybody, pouting, just felt sick, couldn't believe that I had done that. And got to looking at the weather and realized that tomorrow morning was the very last morning I would have to hunt that stand while we were in Kansas before the wind switched for the good. I knew that it wasn't the greatest chance, but it was the very last chance I had to go get in there, so I was gonna risk it and get in there and just see what I could do the next morning. Yeah, the next morning we got in the stand, got in there extra early, got in there about an hour before daylight. It was 3 degrees, ice on the ground everywhere, freezing cold. Just as it started approaching daylight, I could see some deer moving out in the bottom. I could tell they were checking scrapes, but I couldn't tell what they were. As soon as he walked out behind one of them big oak trees in that bottom, I could see that little third beam, and I knew it was the deer that I was in there hunting. At this point, he was still 200 yards from me.
He's behind that tree. He's gonna come down that fence and jump over. He ought to come to us. Let's just wait.
I think it probably only took him 3 minutes to get down there, but it seemed like 3 hours.
I was just crushed all night last night. I laid in bed and just thought about how many ways I could have played things out differently and what I could have done differently to have an opportunity to harvest that deer. And I knew last night when I missed that deer that my hunt was over. This morning is the last chance that I had to get in this stand with the north wind. The wind changes south this morning at 10 o'clock. It hasn't been daylight here for 25 minutes, and the first deer I see coming down the fence line is my big buck with the third beam. I cannot tell y'all how bad a buck fever I got watching that deer walk down the fence. It must have taken him 15 minutes to get here. When he jumped that fence and came to the feed pen, I mean, I went through everything in my head to make sure that there was absolutely no way I was gonna mess up this opportunity. And it paid off. There he is. He didn't go 40 yards. Get over there and get a little better look at this bad boy. Big body that deer is. Looks like a freaking elk. Holy cow.
More than anything, what I wanted, my goal in this trip to Kansas was to shoot a giant-bodied, old, mature Midwest whitetail, and I think I've accomplished that.
Look at the body on this thing.
I mean, he's got to weigh 300 pounds plus. I mean, he doesn't even look like a deer. Just how crazy it is, and what a blessing it is to have had another opportunity at this deer. I missed this deer last night at 25 yards. I hit a limb, and it just blows my mind that this was the first deer to come back in this morning. These Midwest whitetail, they don't let you get away with a whole lot. It was truly a blessing that everything played out the way it did. I was sure after last night getting back to the cabin that I was gonna go home and have some tag soup and head back to Texas, because I didn't think there was any chance I'd get another opportunity at a deer like this. These Kansas whitetail, they just, man, they're smart. It's nothing like the deer we hunt at home, you know. In Texas, the deer are not dumb by any means, but you can sure get away with a lot more. These deer up here, they're not very forgiving. Luckily, this one was.
Well, it's November the 12th, and we have had some brutal weather roll in the last 3 days. It's dropped down to 6 degrees. Today I think it's like 19 or 20. The winds have been howling, and we've been hunting. We've seen our deer. We've seen old Bob a couple of times, but just not in range. I've got a picture of him right here yesterday at like 11:30 and 2 o'clock. We put all day sitting here a couple of days ago, and we're gonna do it again today. And I hope he comes through here. I've seen him multiple times. I just haven't had a shot at him. We're gonna sit here all day and freeze to death and hopefully get him. Got a little one-horn buck coming in. I don't recognize that buck. Some does. Oh, there's a big buck, big buck. Oh, there he is. There he is. He's chasing them does off. Dang it, he's going the wrong way. Oh, here comes the doe, here comes the doe. He's behind her. Stuck him. It looked good, I think. All this time we've been sitting here waiting for that buck to come in. I just stuck him. We're gonna give him some time because we didn't see him go down. But I sure don't think he's gonna be able to take that. Well, you know, I stuck that deer a while ago, and it's a tad back. We give him 2 hours. We got out, we started trailing, had a lot of blood. Found 2 spots where he stopped. I was just fixing to back out, and out ahead of us, I seen him stand up and slowly walk off, and we just backed out. We're gonna give him a couple hours and let him go in there and expire. You know, it definitely ain't perfect. I wish we would have found him by now, but there's a lot of blood. It's a very thick cover. He's not going to leave there. Give him some time. We'll come back later. Cool. This was a while back. He stood right here for a little bit. There he is. Holy moly. Oh my gosh. Whew.
What a man.
What a freaking deer. Unbelievable.
Congratulations, man.
He is stiff. He's been dead a while. We gave him plenty of time. Oh my goodness. What a freaking deer.
Every deer that I ever shoot is always special, but when you're in Kansas and I've been hunting for 2 years and didn't have any luck last year and watched everybody else, shoot these giant bucks, for me to finally have, my buck in my hands that I hunted and put all this time in this season, it's really special.
Man, that was the longest 6 hours of my life.
Well, I'll tell you now though, with your hands on him, we way underestimated this deer all year.
We called him Bob last week because he had a big old brow.
Finally to get my hands on this big buck, I mean, it just means a lot. All the hard work, that's what we did it for right there.
Heavenly Father, we would like to pause and give thanks for these things that so often get taken for granted. We know that none of this would be possible without your infinite wisdom, mercy, and love for all of us. We thank you for the countless blessings you give us and ask that you show us daily how to live our lives according to your will. We also ask that you guide our nation back toward your desires. In Jesus' holy name we pray. Amen.